One of the really interesting insights that I've gleaned during this experience with COVID-19 and its impact on our economy is how it has actually revealed a very specific, significant weakness inherent in most loyalty programs and loyalty strategies. We recently asked a group of US-based consumers what will drive them to continue to engage with the brands they're loyal to after the pandemic is over. Interestingly, a majority of consumers told us that how a brand treats its customers during this period will have a significant impact on that decision making. Even more interesting, a significant majority of consumers told us that how a company treats its employees will have a big effect on whether they continue to buy from that company after the pandemic is over. Now, these aren't consumers saying it's all about who gives me the best deal or the deepest discount. It's actually consumers saying it's the company that treats people the best that will be the determiner of who I give my dollar to moving forward. It's really an emotional decision they're making, not a rational one. This is something that we have learned from the field of behavior science, is oftentimes referred to as the affect heuristic. This idea that we oftentimes have a shortcut in our thinking where we allow emotion to drive our decision making rather than data or logic or reasoning. And this can be a really effective tool, especially when we don't have data to work with. But one thing we also know is that in times of high stress, say a pandemic, we are more likely to fall back on that particular affect heuristic to allow our current emotional state to drive our decision making. So my question for you is this: how well prepared are you to thrive in a marketplace that, for at least the foreseeable future, will almost certainly be driven more by the affect heuristic than anything else, by emotional decisions on the part of consumers? Is your loyalty program today predominantly based on driving more transactions out of your existing customer base? Or do you actually see it as a venue for creating emotional values-based connection with your customers? If you've never thought about your loyalty program as a values-based connector to the people who buy from you, today is the day to start thinking of it that way. Because that's actually inherent in the word loyalty, that connection that's based on a meaningful relationship between two entities, and in this case, between your brand and your customers. It's absolutely something that can be accomplished, but it's something that, as we move forward through this challenging period, we'll all have to be much more conscious of it and much more deliberate about it in order to achieve that level of significant connection that will really last and help us to thrive through this experience.